Okay, so this is the Collagraph demo. Alright, so what I wanted to show you is I was just doing a real brief collagraph to give you an idea of what you can do with products that you may have at home. This is corrugated cardboard. So this is the inside part of the cardboard box, and I tore it open, and then I ended up with this. Okay, so that's what I have here. Also with bubble wrap. And it all depends on how I'm going to paint this. I am going to use my inks to paint it. Now, if you have oil-based stuff, you can do that too. But in the end, Collagraph isn't meant to get like hundreds and hundreds of prints, okay? So you're looking at, you know, with a printing press, eventually some of the stuff will be torn off. Now, occasionally, I've actually clear-coated some of my stuff to give it a little bit extra glue, a little bit extra stick with Liquitex like matte meat. This one I painted with just glue. The entire thing is just layers of glue that I let dry overnight. I'm going to go back in with a sharp tool and kind of, you know, reform little scratch marks here and there to make it look a little bit more interesting. What I could do one time is I could ink it up and print it to show you. This one I did just all popcorn kernels. Now you can do different seeds. I had people make beautiful seeds of all different seeds that they collect in their yards. You could do buttons, especially because we're not doing a printing press. You now can actually do sharp. You know, I actually use sharp objects. You could use anything. Before we were using a printing press and something like this, the printing press would probably tear right through your paper. Alright, so first thing I gotta do is tear my paper. So let me do that. My paper's big. So let me just prepare that. This is my BFK paper. Measure down the center, get a T-square ready. And I'm just making the deckled edge. They say the deckled edge would, the mimicking the deckled edge comes out better if you actually dampen the paper and tear it, but that's okay. I like just to tear my paper instead of using scissors to cut it. Alright, so I'm going to get my pencil. And it was a... see, it's 11-inch. I'm gonna look for the watermark too, so if I do print something, the watermark's gonna be on the correct size. I'm just marking my paper so I know where to tear it at. With pencil only. If you do it with pen or anything else, it's gonna bleed in the water. Not a good plan. I would probably tear my paper down one more time, just because my my cardboard that I glued everything down to is so small. If you're gonna do a smaller size, I'd say do multiples. I'm probably gonna. That's cutting it. What do we got going on here? Guess we could do that in half. I suppose we could do that. All right, so that's 14. That's 15. So that's 7.5. Approximately 7.5. Alright, so I'm going to tear 2 at a time, which is never recommended. Okay. I'm going to hold this up to the light and see if I have a watermark on any of these. I probably do not. It's probably on the other half. In that case, that's good. Alright, so I'm going to build a template. What in the world did I do with that template? There, let me go behind the camera. So I could go and see if I get my template from last time. And some brushes. We're gonna need brushes. So there's my template. Alright, I'm gonna redo it for those. Some brushes. I'm gonna need some sort of thing to put, like as a palette. I usually use a white plate. You can use your plexiglass, and I need some water, and of course paper towels. Can't go without those. All right, and then being that I'm over here, I might as well go get my brayers. You can use string, you can use yarn, You can do peanut shells, whatever. There's so many variety of things that you can do in this technique. Let me get rid of these guys. Don't need them anymore. All right. So I'm going to make sure so this is my one. Okay, and here's my other one. No, my boards are crooked. I cut them with scissors last night. I just did them, you know, kind of quick. All right. All right, so I'm gonna dump these in here. One at a time, because remember, if we do it all together, what will happen is air pockets form. We don't want air pockets. So one at a time, they all sit on top of each other. It's all good. All right. So, scrap paper. I do have that someplace around here. Let me go grab some newspaper or newsprint, whatever it is that you have at home. Now, I'm just going to lay this out, you know, in case I'm painting so it doesn't cause a mess. And this is going to be to lay down on top when I go to roll it. So I'm just going to go ahead and like paint my stuff. So I have to imagine what colors I'd want this to be. I can roll it on here, but in this situation I don't want to do that. I mean, this one I might want to roll it on. I can actually build different layers of cardboard on top of each other and almost make it like a relief print and still have it be a collagraph. Is more about texture. So let's get a little bit purple, blue, white. This one's getting old, so let's use this up. Spring 2009. That's what I'm saying. It's getting, better start using that. I'll get a little bit of yellow in there. It's nice. It always goes well with the purple colors. And we're gonna get some blue and a little bit of green. I don't know. Let's get some blue. And the amount of paint, you're gonna have to practice how much paint you want to put down. Remember, it's supposed to be about texture. That's what a collagraph is about, right? And these are just simple ideas. There's nothing fancy about these at all. Black, and if I want, I can use ink extender or ink retarding medium. And this will slow the ink drying time, so that will work. Pour a little bit of that out. Get my paper towels going. Try to get my hair not in the paints. And we do need a little bit of green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just paint, alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to paint this right here. So there's not much to go paint by. There's only 2 different textures and then an emptiness, so maybe 3 different textures. And these are all similar in level. So basically with the collagraph, you're not going to want something super high and something super low. You want everything, even though they're all going to be all different textures, kind of the same level. Because what will happen is, I say if I had sponge, because you can even use a sponge, and I paint the sponge, and it's this tall, and then my corrugated cardboard is this tall, it will print unevenly. So you really want, I mean, you could build it up, you could put my corrugated cardboard on different levels, so it's as high as a sponge, but try to stay about the same height. It's similar, it doesn't have to be exact same height. Alright, so let me get some water going here. I have a paper towel out because I like to blot stuff into my paper towel. This is way too thin, but that's okay. Making it thicker. And this bubble wrap, I'm not sure we're going to see anything because I should have peeled that layer off. Let me take a look at that real quick. I don't know if it's possible without popping it all. Nope, not possible. You also use tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever you people call it these days. This looks like it's just going to print smooth because the bubbly stuff is interior just from the package. I'm going to get a little bit of blue in here. It's a little bit of a fantasy type of sky. Tiny bit of white. I'm trying to get the extender in the white there because that stuff is getting out there in age. Plus I want it to stay wet long enough. And you want to get at least 3 prints off of each one of these. That's the goal. Now I could have put acrylic gel medium, Liquitex gel medium in some of these areas so that the ink doesn't, or the paints don't, sink into the materials as much, and it will sit on top of it a little bit more. But this is seriously fine for now. I don't know how this one's going to print at all yet, but we will find out. That's what we're doing. Alright, so then landscape part. Alright, so this is what I have. It's already started drying. It's our blotting station. Very professional kitchen table blotting station, right? So I put down paper towel there. We're gonna let our paper drip, if you remember from the last demo. Let the stream come out. And you can reuse these to help clean up so you're not wasting them, Alright, so throw this down here. You're gonna blot most of the surface water off. What we learned last time was because of the lack of printing press, that a little bit more damp than normal was better. You just don't want any crazy puddly water anywhere on this, okay? And then I'm gonna move all this nonsense out of the way. We're going to lay our block, clear printing block, clearly right here. Okay, and we're gonna take our paper. I don't know if it's damp enough actually. I might have taken too much off it already. Alright, line that up on my, there we go. Alright, and then we're going to take that other scrap paper that I lost apparently, put it down on top, and we're going to roll over this pretty hard. Get a rolling pin, life might be a little bit easier. Let's take a peek. Remember, you lay your hand down on one side to look first before you just commit to taking it all the way off, because when you commit to taking it all the way off, it's very hard to line up against. If you like it, you pull it all the way off. And you'll notice that the stuff in between, I was unable to capture. So I'd have to actually rub it by hand probably, but it's too late. Well, I'm not even going to attempt. I don't know if I should attempt that now. I was pressing hard enough to where my pencil came off. That doesn't normally happen. But anyway, that gives you the idea of how, because my stuff was uneven, that even though I painted those mountains in the middle, they did not show up. That's how even you had to make this stuff in order, especially if you're doing it by hand. I could, hand paint them back in. And I did have more work in these than I could try one more like this and we could figure out how to get that. And I had a blue dot on my board and it came up on here. So I had to wait for all this to dry to fix it. I can't believe the pencil came out. That never happens. That's what this is about, is the textures, right? And I could go in once this dries with regular watercolor event and I can paint the mark will probably show up again, but that's okay. This is just a demo. If I don't want that blue mark to show up, I can take a piece of paper towel like this and I can cover that instead of making a whole new template, okay? And then I could use this or paper towel. Paper towel is thinner, so I might go ahead and do that instead of my thicker paper and roll over, so this way I could try to get into the grooves a little bit more. But the goal is to get 3 off each image. I'd like you guys to try out 2 of these different materials. Maybe an easy one at first. I go ahead and use my hands something like that. And again, this could become a mixed media piece, so it's not that, you know, I have some of the textures up close, you can see once it dries. I got my fingers inside of the areas that were unable to be reached by using a brayer that's even pressure all the way around, because my mountain area was such so recessed in comparison to the other objects that were glued down. All right, so I'm going to try the other ones. So let me get rid of this guy. It's kind of cool though. You can let it dry on there and keep it if you want. All right, these guys, I have some spirally thing happening. I have to be careful of tearing the paper. I'm gonna get some reds. That's it. But you can see if I filled the rest in with similar height stuff like rice, you know, stuff like that, I can come up with something totally worthy of keeping. This right now is like a beginning piece, it looks like, of something. Not sure what we can add, you know, watercolors into this after. Again, mixed media piece. I got threads into it. I could keep it this simple, but this is all I have off of this one. I got the purples on the edges. What I want to do with this one is I want to scratch it up a little bit inside, because right now it's just looking kind of like a mess. So I mean, I could paint this out or use a brayer, and I'd probably use a brayer, roll ink out across the entire thing, do one color. But again, I wanted to scratch some of this out. Okay, so what happened is my phone alarm went off, and during that what happened was I ended up not filming correctly, but that's okay. So you roll one even black all the way across all the glue, or you can hand paint it all different colors, however you want to do it. And then blot off your paper, lay it down on top of it. Again, these were just quick examples, and I drew with glue, and I let it harden overnight. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay this down on top. There's many other ways you could do this, but again, you can use more than one color even. Let's see what we got. It's not bad. It's a little bleedy. Something like that. That was just fun. That's all. Just glue, rolled it out on top. That's all it is. This is glue painted down onto my board.